All right, y'all. I can't really see that well because it's bright and sunny out here. You can see, but it's still pretty icy. But I'm gonna try to do this video for y'all outside today instead of in the house all the time because I gotta walk the dog. So part two, I was talking about how people like young black children, young black men, black people in general, are just have like that just entrepreneurial spirit, and how it's possible just to succeed if given the opportunity to do so, right? So instead, when we're not given those opportunities, we have to take opportunities. And in taking those opportunities, you see things where people are illegally selling things like drugs, for example. It's a big money maker. People like to use drugs to get away from their problems and so forth. And what happens is they see the need for it and they become the supply and demand. And so that alone, I am not advocating for drugs. Let me be clear on that. But I'm just stating that alone is showing entrepreneurial spirit, understanding entrepreneurial concepts that they're not even going to school to learn. They just are kind of doing them and knowing them. So that's one part of it, right? And the other thing I want to say is, like, how do we come back in and create these opportunities for our young people in these communities? And not just black people, white people too. There are young white people in slums. There are young Native Americans in slums. There are in alcoholic environments and so forth. There are young Hispanic people in slums and in hoods and stuff that are basically living a life of crime in order to make it. Sorry, I gotta stop and pick up poop, so hold on a second. All right, y'all. So now that I finished that duty, get back to what I was saying. So there are just so many young African Americans and others who are just not given the opportunity, but naturally find that entrepreneurial spirit. And while there are others, I want to focus in on young African American youth, because that's who we hear about the most on news when it comes to drugs and crimes and things like that. So I want to address why we see those things. One, in our community, we don't get those economical opportunities to really thrive in the profitable legal business. We don't get the loans to start a business. We don't get the education. Our public schools are crap, and even when you go in certain communities, they're even worse. It's like people just don't give a crap. They don't care. They don't take the time out for the kids to really teach them. We have so many bright minds, because when you look at these articles and you see all these kid geniuses and these black children who are geniuses, who are above so many people in this world, you question. Well, I don't question. I just say, I see it all the time. Maybe because my child is really smart, but I see it all the time, and I see it with his little friends and all these little people. And I feel like when they're given the opportunity to shine, man, the world is their pedestal. But they don't get those opportunities, so oftentimes they have to make them themselves. And in making them themselves, then they have to live in a life of fear. So, fear can hinder flourishment. Remember that. Fear can hinder flourishment. What do I mean? They can't be as successful as they really truly should be. Instead, they nickel and diamond out here selling, these crap drugs that are pointless, instead of actually making it and having a great career, because they are not getting these opportunities. So I want to just hop in here and say, the entrepreneurial spirit is so strong in the African American community, like so strong, y'all. And oftentimes our youth are just kind of left out of the pool of things, which is why, one of the reasons, many reasons, but one of the reasons why I'm a strong advocate for marijuana distribution being completely legal and recreational. I don't think that it should be something that's really monitored and catered. It should be a free market. And the reason being is there are so many young people who could benefit from selling legal, clean marijuana, and if they're taught properly how to do so. And when I say that, I mean not just for smoking. Like I'm an advocate for that too, because I feel like we drug people up on so many heavy, chemically lab-made drugs that oftentimes they don't help the body; they hinder it. So I'm an advocate for marijuana as an option for health reasons, as well as relaxation reasons, as well as just in general. And let me say the other reason why the benefit that's being lost in our community for when it comes to marijuana is that sorry y'all, give me 1 second, I'm gonna come right back to this poop again. All right, y'all. So another reason why I am just like super pumped about it being legalized for recreation and so forth is because there's so many opportunities in the marijuana business outside of just smoking weed, you know? Like, that's why it's important to know our history, understand how the product was used before tobacco came into terms and marijuana became prohibited, because marijuana used to be a free market type of product. It used to be grown by our forefathers of our country, you know, where they were used for textiles. Hemp was used for so many other products. By the way, if you don't know, people who just smoke weed just smoke weed. There's more to smoking weed than THC. But hemp was a product that was, you know, used heavily for clothing, used heavily for so many things. And there are people who are going back into that area, and it's almost like a niche area right now. But our people aren't getting those opportunities. We're late on the boat. We can't afford the land to start growing our own and so forth. So there's so much to it that how we're left out of the free market. And for that reason, you know, we turn to other things, or we start selling weed illegally or growing our own illegally, whatever the case may be. I had the privilege of seeing the insight. Sorry, I'm walking up this hill. The insight of what legal marijuana growers do when they are buying land to start a market here in the DC area. I'll give you all a great example of what happened. So someone I know is connected to someone else who is a legal grower and seller in Colorado area, and they learned about the laws that were coming into place through their connections here in the DC area, and they immediately jumped on board, got their team together, started writing up their documents, had their funding ready, because in order to even bid, you had to have $5 million, y'all. So they hopped right in the process and was able to get themselves in the box. It was like only 5 contracts being given out, number one. And in order for them to even bid on it, they had to have had the land, they had to have had the 5 million funds up front. So all this said, y'all, these people were able to get into this business. A business that a lot of us have cultivated for years upon years upon years, right? But not able to crack into it legally. Why is that? Financial disparities, y'all. Financial disparities to stop that. And it doesn't take away from who we are and what we're capable of. It doesn't take away from our ingenuity. It doesn't take away from our ability to create. Sorry, y'all, it's windy and cold out here. And it definitely does not take away from our entrepreneurial spirit, because one thing about us, black people in general, I think, is that we're gonna make it happen some kind of way. So, you know, when your mom used to go to school, whatever, and your mom or dad or whoever, aunt, uncle, grandma, because, you know, we always have to work together as a unit, tell you, don't worry about it, baby, I'm gonna make it happen. That's what they mean. By any means possible, they're gonna make it happen for you because they know it matters. And that's just how we are. We're gonna make it happen because we gotta survive. And that survival mindset has been placed on us from the time we came into this country. Actually, before, when they first put us on the boats. Hell, before then, we were running to make sure they couldn't capture us and put us on the boats. That survival mindset has been there. It's built in our DNA. That's who we are. That's what we do. And so now, excuse me, y'all, that we know it's a part of us. No, Tarvos, you cannot mess with the baby. No. Sorry, y'all, little lady and her baby's walking ahead of us. So he trying to get to them. So now that we know that we had that survival mindset and the ingenuity to make it happen any way possible, it's how do we create these opportunities in our community? How do we create health centers in our community and growth centers in our community that grows healthy food, that grows, that can be sold and bartered, that grows hemp products that can be sold and bartered. Like, you know, I see absolutely nothing wrong with the old barter system. What I do see wrong in old ways is leaving others out. So now we're at a point, y'all, in history where it's being acknowledged that so many others, come here, have been left out. And the question becomes, how do we bring us back into the fold? How do we bring us back into the conversation? And how do we better our community. So I'll leave y'all with that today. I just wanted to really just talk a little bit further in my part 2 about the entrepreneurial spirit of the young Black person and the lack of opportunities that are happening in creating those spaces for those young Black people who are out to get it. And they're gonna get it by any means possible. So why not give them a positive, influential way to do it? Instead, we shun away lost children. We shun away drug dealers. We shun away people who do a lot of things that are not necessarily looked at as positive in our community, instead of looking at it as an opportunity to help each other, an opportunity to see that person's potential and help them grow and become all that they can be and do all that they can do. So on that note, y'all, I just leave y'all with one thought. Hey, how you doing? And that is, when you see somebody, you know, just hustling, trying to make it, and you have an opportunity for them to do it in a legal way, offer them the opportunity. Talk to them. Find out who they are. Come here, come here, come here. My nose itchy. Find out what they're about. Find out what their skill sets are. And try to help them so that they can profit in our society, that they can be a positive impact in our society, that they can do great things. Because when the hustle's in you, the hustle's in you. It's all about how you do it, you know? And so that's what I'll leave y'all with. Once again, as I always say, be a positive impact on the world. Keep positive energy around you. And continue to be just impactful on somebody else's life. And that's really what this video is about. Be an impact on somebody else's life. Take care, y'all.